How to deal with a player. It's not easy to deal with a player. Whether you're just starting to fall for him or are finding yourself getting into a relationship with a known player, it's important to let him know early on that you're not interested in his antics. If you do like the player, however, and know he won't be changing his ways anytime soon, then you better just take the relationship for the fun, light-hearted thing that it is, or leave it behind. Managing your expectations. Decide if you want to play. If you're positive that you have a living, breathing player on your hands, then the first thing you need to do is to decide if you really want to engage. If you're sensitive, looking for true love, and want a man you can spend a lot of your time with, then you should not engage. However, if you're okay with being with a guy who sees other people, and with seeing other people yourself, then you can go for it, but you should know what to expect before you start the relationship. Of course, before you decide if you want to play, you have to make sure you're dealing with a player first. Don't use reputation alone to make your decision, and see for yourself. Check to see if the guy really does see multiple girls at once or if he's just a flirt. There's a big difference. Don't expect too much from him. One way to keep yourself from getting hurt is to not expect the world from the player. He can take you out to dinner, he can kiss you passionately in the moonlight later, and he can whisper sweet nothings in your ear all night long, but he won't be there to pick up soup for you when you're feeling sick or to meet your mother. As long as you know what the player is good and isn't good for, you'll be able to deal with him without a problem. If you're looking to find Mr. Right, then he may not be it. Though some players do change and settle down, this is not the norm. Dating a player. Beat him at his own game. If you really want to date a player, then you can be a playerette, if that's your thing. If he's seeing other girls while dating you, then what's there to stop you from hanging out with a few other guys you're crushing on? If he goes out late without saying what he's up to, you're free to do the same. Contrary to popular belief, not every single girl out there is looking for a stable relationship, kids, or a white picket fence. If you want to be a playerette too, then go for it. Of course, if that's not your thing, don't feel compelled to beat him at his own game. However, if you were dating a player without realizing it, that's a different story. If you found this out the hard way and you're much more into monogamy, let him know that he really hurt you, but don't feel compelled to fight fire with fire if it's not in your nature. Keep doing your own thing. If you want to date a player, then you can't spend all of your time at his side. You have to continue to be an independent woman and to enjoy the time you spend with your friends, doing the things you love, from yoga to writing poetry, and to maybe even look out for other guys while you're at it. If you start doing all of the things the player does and losing interest in your own hobbies and your own lives, then a red flag will go up for him. Don't ever forget about spending time with your girlfriends. They will center you and will remind you of who you really are. If you ditch them for the player, then they won't be there when you come crawling back to them. Keeping him interested. Keep your options open. That's right. If you want the player to stay interested, then you can't put all your eggs in one basket, either. Make it known that you're open to seeing other people, that you're not closing down your walls just for him and that you're just as free-spirited as he is. If you're looking for something more serious and know he's not it, it's cool to keep hanging with him while looking for something more, if he knows the score. Don't feel restricted to just hanging out with the player if he'll be doing his own thing, too. Limit your communication. You can talk to the player, but avoid calling him every day or texting him every night to check in or to say that you're thinking of him. You can call him first when you feel like it, but make sure you take turns reaching out to each other. Don't feel compelled to send him an email or Facebook message with a link to an article that made you think of him. You can save that for your future boyfriend. Limiting your communication will show him that you have better things to do than to worry about him all the time, and he'll be even more intrigued by you. As a rule, you should text each other about the same amount. If he's calling you a lot, then you should call him at least a few times to keep things fairly even.